no matter which way you cut it, you're going to be spending some racks. So, like, there's a lot of shame, I feel like, on social media based around, like, oh, you shouldn't be renting, you should be owning, or you owning, but it's a waste of money because it is that and the third, and you still got to pay taxes on it, and it's a scam, and it's, everybody got their own little whatever about it. And it's like, regardless, we all going to be paying some type of money somewhere. And my way works for me. Hi, welcome back to Tia on Tour. We just gonna cut right to it. So, RVing is expensive. Like, every time I tell somebody I live in an RV, they be like, oh my God, I know you saving all this money and whatever. You don't even got to pay for a place to stay and blah, blah, blah. And I try to inform everybody that I come across that, yes, there is a lot of expenses. And I think that you kind of have to choose the type of expensive that you desire, because owning a home is expensive because you not only have to come up with down payment and closing costs, when you need repairs and stuff, you have to come out of pocket for that. So it really costs more to get into a home, like owning a home, getting approved. Then, like with rent, it's like you give them 3 times whatever the rent is, which may or may not be cheaper than purchasing a home, depending on obviously like where you living at or how that works out. But it's typically easier to rent than it is to own a home. But you kind of throw money away because you're renting the place and not owning it. But then on the bright side of that is that when things break, you have somebody to call to say, okay, this is not working. Somebody will come out and fix it because it's not your place. So so it's kind of like pros and cons. I feel like with RVing, wherever you save the money, you're going to spend it elsewhere. Like right now, y'all can see from the background, I'm not in an RV. I'm in a hotel right now because my RV is in the shop. So it's like I'm already I have to pay a lot. Like when my house is in the shop, I have to go to a hotel. And then since I'm somewhere where I don't have a friend or family that I can stay with, it's like I'm paying hotel costs. Lot rent is typically, from what I've seen, if you're lucky, you can get about maybe $650 a month. But typically, I would say it's about $800 to $1,200 for lot rent. So if you own your RV, if you're not parking it on like a friend's property or your own property or whatever, you're still going to have to come up with a form of a rent payment. Now, I would rather pay lot rent because I have the option to go elsewhere immediately if I don't like where I am. I can easily say, okay, this month, I'll finish this month out, then I'll go elsewhere. I'll go wherever, And it's like, if I, open the 12-month lease, in an apartment, please, can you move out the way? Come on, let's go. You see what I'm doing? Oh my God. Anyways. Yeah, if I opened up a 12-month lease, it's like I would have to sit there and stay there or break a lease and go through the whole process of that. And nobody wants to do that. But I just want to say, before buying an RV, take into consideration that you have to get RV insurance. You have to pay lot rent. I would say average out $800 a month for lot rent, just to, it might be a little cheaper, might be a little more, whatever. And then it's like also propane costs. I typically try to use electric heat, like I have space heaters and stuff like that. But propane, is for the hot water. Propane is for cooking, so depending on how much you cook, how much you shower, how much furnace heat that you're using, propane doesn't last long. So you can expect to spend, usually it takes about $80 to $100 to fill my propane tank when I need it. And I rarely ever need to do it, maybe like every, I don't know, 4 to 6 months maybe. But it's like, that's another expense regardless. And it's like, I don't know, like it's not as cheap as people say is my whole point. It's just that I probably spend around, or if not more than the average person in an apartment. And it's like I said, I like that I can get up and go, I can travel, and that's the appeal to doing it for me. I travel for work anyway, so it's like I just like that I can take my house with me and don't got to keep moving furniture and packing the car up, and I can just basically pull off. So that's what I mean by pick your expenses, or expensive, because it's like my expensive works for me. If you enjoy renting, keep renting. If you want to own a home, go own a home or work towards owning a home. Like, there's a lot of shame, I feel like, on social media based around like, oh, you shouldn't be renting, you should be owning, or you owning, but it's a waste of money because it is that and the third, and you still got to pay taxes on it, and it's a scam, and it's, everybody got their own little whatever about it. And it's like, regardless, we all gonna be paying some type of money somewhere. And my way works for me. I can say, yes, RVing could be cheaper for me. I would say maybe if I lived off grid, like if I dry camped and kind of just, lived off the fresh water tank and didn't move anywhere and barely used electricity and all that. But I didn't want to live like that. Like, I am from Philly. I am from the city. I am not really, I didn't grow up camping and hunting and living in the wilderness. So, I like RV resorts. I like nice campgrounds. I want to have amenities where I stay. I don't want to be, somewhere where I'm like stranded, don't got no signal for real. I'm just out in the wilderness trying to save a couple bucks. I want to be comfortable. I want to be safe. I want, I like when campgrounds have security. I like all of that. So I know that they got to get their money too. And then also some RV parks charge for utilities. So you got to think about water and electric. So just like how I said, I like electric heat. If I'm somewhere where they charge for electric, I'm using electric heat to where I'm saving propane money, but then I'm running an electric bill up. Now, typically for me, I would say electric bills, from what I've seen, would probably be like, maybe like, I don't know, like $100 a month, maybe. But, like in the summer, I keep the air on when I leave, obviously, because I have cats and stuff like that. So I don't think it's terrible, but it's still an extra expense that people don't typically think about. And it's just, then, somebody like me who actually drives the RV cross country, let's not even forget the gas costs. I mean, the gas cost is thousands upon thousands of dollars. And yes, you could save money that way by not going anywhere. So now with me, depends. If I'm not on a travel assignment, I would be losing money because by the fact that I'm staying stationary at my home base, which is Vegas, I wouldn't be making much money. But it's like me having to drive certain places, and it all depends on how you want to do it. You can stay stationary to save money. You can stay on your friend's property to save money. Like I said, if you go to an RV park that includes the utilities, which a lot of those are around too, then you don't got to worry about electric heat. You could run the heat up and not have to pay for it at the end of the month. So yeah, but I think it's something to think about. It's like, I don't regret getting my RV. Being a, an RV owner is semi like being a homeowner. So it's like, my water heater has been acting up. If I owned a regular home and my water heater was acting up, I would have to do the same thing I'm doing now. The only thing is, the fact that it's a house on wheels, when I put it in the shop, I can't live in it while it's in the shop. A house, if your water heater break, you can still be in that house. Same with the apartment. If something break in your apartment, if it's not something real crazy, I mean, you can still be in your apartment and you just gotta, make something shake with, depending on whatever is broke. But I mean, yeah, it's a lot of hidden expenses in that. And I feel like another thing too that I just thought about is financing. If you finance an RV, number one, a lot of newer RVs are 80 to 100K if you get like the Class A how I got, but whatever, they not that cheap. So it's like, if you spend 30K on a brand new trailer, you gotta sit there and have a solid truck to pull that trailer. If you want to get a Class A, like a motorized, or a Class C that's also motorized, you're going to be spending 70, 80K on that. So you're still going to break the bank. Then if you get an older RV that is cheaper, you're more than likely going to have some type of expenses to repair it in some way, shape, or form because it's not newer. And it depends, because some newer ones are also just terribly made to where they break down anyway, like cars. So it's like, no matter which way you cut it, you're going to be spending some racks. So I just would think that everybody should be focused on trying to kind of just up their pay, get a better job, go back to school or something, because I don't think that there's necessarily really like an easy way out. And also, I know people, have memberships like Good Sam, Thousand Trails, and certain memberships that could potentially save money. But the only thing with those that I've seen, and I could be wrong, I could be misinformed, but Good Sam, I think, only takes 10% off. And I'm like, I don't really think that I would want to pay for the membership, you know, and only get 10% off at certain places. And then it's like Thousand Trails, I think you only can stay at certain like Thousand Trails parks. And it's like I moved so many places, and I don't want to be restricted to, oh, I can only go here or there if I want to utilize that membership. So I never got the membership. Another thing with campgrounds and RV parks is that they have a lot of different rules. So like ever since I've moved to Oregon, well, now I'm in Washington, but when I was in Oregon, they said they didn't want RVs that are 10 years, or they only want RVs that are 10 years or newer. My RV is 2008, and my RV is in pretty good condition. It's not beat up, it's not scratched up, dented, nothing. They didn't care to see it, because some places they just want to make sure your RV is not falling apart. Like they don't care about the year, but they just want, you know, they just want to know it's not going to bring down the quality of their campground, or not get, or it's not going to get like stuck and you know, get, it's just a whole bunch of junk in like a campsite, which I understand. But here I got denied a lot of places, and one place accepted me, but they said, since you have an RV that's older than 10 years, we're going to charge you double. Now I didn't have time to keep searching and searching and searching, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna have to pay the $1,400 up until I find a cheaper place. So I was literally paying $1,400 for a space just to go and work in Oregon, which I thought was insane. But it's like I had to do it. But like I said before, it's nice that I could sit there and be like, okay, I'm only pay $14 for a month and get in, or a month or two, and give me a chance to find something cheaper. So then I ended up moving to Vancouver, Washington, which is like right across the bridge. And I ended up finding one that's cheaper than that. So I was just like, you know, okay, I found something cheaper. Now this place charges for utilities though. So it's cheaper, but it's also, now I have to monitor how much water I'm using, how much electric I'm using. So it's just, yeah, you got to pick your expenses. Why do I keep saying expenses? Pick your expensive, because yeah, I hear that all the time. Like, oh, I know you're saving a lot of money. I know. Yeah, maybe in some ways, but yeah, I mean, you gotta, it's a lot. They could have fooled me too, but I don't know. I just would rather pick comfort and like amenities over cheapness. Like I don't think I'll ever be the type of person to go off grid and like just live on, you know, a cup of water a day and take a 1-minute shower and like, I know. I think that's just too far. Like it's already one thing that I'm in an RV. It's like I don't want to just go down to like being that much of like a minimalist, because I grew up, you know, like in like a big house, and I grew up with a big backyard, and I mean, I guess with an RV, the world is my backyard, but still, it's like I just grew up having so many toys and clothes and shoes and this and that. So I think me being in an RV is already like minimalist enough. I don't want to just live somewhere where I don't have like the amenities that I'm used to having. So that's why like I more so go for resorts, which is obviously more money, but you know, I don't know. I just think that I should be the one to tell y'all.